press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello children, in the previous class we were seeing about the topic weather and the climate. There we have seen many things about the weather and the climate. We know that day-to-day changes in atmosphere is known as a weather, and also the changes in atmosphere over a longer period of time is known as a climate. And also we have known that these climate will change depending upon some of the factors. So, on the whole earth the climate is not same. It will vary from one region to another region. Why does that vary? We have known there are so many reasons for these changes in a climate. That is, it may be either a distance from the equator or high above the sea level, then distance from the sea, direction of the winds and the humidity and the rainfall. So, distance from the equator, there we have seen that the places which are nearer or which falls at the equator region, they will receive a highest heat and the sun rays, right. So, it will be very hot. Similarly, the places which are away from the equator, they will experiences a less amount of heat, that is they will experiences a cold. So, that is there is a climate change because of the distance from the equator and the height above the sea level. We have known that above the sea level, the high places they will have a cool climate. At the sea level, the air pressure will be very much high, but there temperature will at the above the hills like Himalayan hills, the temperature will be very low. So, like these differences in the climate or the temperature, that is because of the height above the sea level. And also we have known that temperature is taken for the measurement of this climate, right. So, on the basis of this temperature, we can say the climate of that place or a region. Next, the reason for which the climate changes is distance from the sea. There we have seen the two examples, they are Chennai and the Delhi. Even though Chennai lies in the equator region, it will experiences the moderate heat. But we know that the places which are present in the equator, they will experience the much heat. But here that will not happen. This is Chennai, which is situated in a near to the equator and also near to the sea, will experiences a moderate heat. Why is that so? Because Chennai is nearer to a sea. That is why sea will have a moderating influence on a climate. It will change the any climate into a moderate climate. So, Chennai will have a moderate climate, but Delhi, which is will have a higher extreme climates because it is not nearer to a sea. But Chennai is nearer to a sea, that is why it experiences a moderate climatic conditions. Then, and depending upon the direction of winds, we know that winds blow from east to west as well as some of the winds blow from west to east, right. So, these winds while blowing, they will take the moisture in them. So, some of the winds which get heat up, they will expand and they will rise up. Then the lower winds which are cool, they will take the place of this upper risen winds. Like so, there will be a differences in the climate. So, this wind also will influences in the changes of a climate. These winds which carry high moisture will give different type of climate, and the wind which won't carry a moisture, that is where there is no moisture, that their climate is very different. So, then humidity and the rainfall, as we have already known that wind carries a water, that we call it as a humidity, humid. Okay. Then this will become a this will fall on the earth in terms of precipitation or the rainfall. Where there is a more humid, there more humidity, there rainfall will be happen. Where there is a less humidity, rainfall will not happen. So like this, there also will be a changes in a climate. So these are all the factors which influences the climate in one or the other way. So these 5 are the major reasons which will influences the changes of a climate on a earth surface. Now we are going to discuss about the climatic or a heat zones. So now we are going to see what are these climatic or a heat zones. So I have already said that earth is divided into many zones, and every place, every zone will receive a different climatic condition. It will experiences different climatic conditions. What are those? We will see here. On the basis of differences in the temperature and the rainfall, we can divide the earth into 3 climatic or heat zones. So, depending upon the rainfall and the temperature, we can divide the whole earth into 3 climatic or heat zones. Can divide whole earth into 3 climatic or heat zones. What are they? We will see here. Torrid zone. A torrid zone lies on both the sides of a equator and between the Tropic of Cancer in the north and Tropic of Capricorn in the south. This zone is also called as a tropical zone. In this zone, the climate is hot and humid throughout the year because the sun rays fall vertically on this area. So, the first one is torrid zone. What is this torrid zone? So, this is the earth surface. Okay. So, this is the equator. This is the north pole and this is the south pole. This is the 0 degree Celsius, that is equator. Okay. Now, here Tropic of what will come? Cancer or Capricorn? Here in the north, Tropic of Cancer will come. Tropic of Cancer will come, and here in the south, Tropic of Capricorn will come. That you have studied in the previous classes. So, the region between this Tropic of Cancer to this Tropic of Capricorn, this region is known as the Torrid region. This region, it is nearer to a equator, and in the previous class we have known that at the equator vertical rays of a sun will fall. Equator will get a vertical rays of a sun. So, at the equator place they will be very hot and the humid throughout the year. So, this region is known as a torrid region. In this torrid region, we experience very hot as well as the humid throughout the year. Torrid region is between the Tropic of Cancer in north and the Tropic of Capricorn in the south. So, this region is referred to as a torrid region, and this will experiences a very hot climatic condition as well as the humid climatic condition throughout the year. So, this is about the torrid region. Okay. Why this is very hot? Because they are nearer to the equator, and at the equator sun rays fall vertically, which leads to more amount of heat. So, that is why they experiences the heat and the what else? Heat and the humid throughout the year. So, this is about the torrid region. Next, the next zone is temperate zone. So, the second one is temperate zone. Temperate zone means what? We will see here. The area lying between the torrid zone and the frigid zone in both the hemisphere is called as a temperate zone. This area is neither very hot nor cold as it is away from the equator. Okay. The area lying between the torrid zone and the frigid zone in both the hemisphere is called as a temperate zone. So, this is the earth, this is the equator, and this is the Tropic of Cancer, and this is the Tropic of Capricorn. So, this is the torrid region, this is the torrid region, and this area which is between this area is between, this is the frigid area and this is the torrid area. Between these two regions, here it comes the area, this region is known as a temperate region. Here also in the south it will happen the same. The region between the torrid and the frigid zone is known as a temperate zone. So, this is the temperate zone and it will not have much amount of heat. Your climate will be moderate because this zone and this zone is away from the equator. They are not nearer to a equator. That is why those two zones experiences a cold as they are not very hot or not very cold. Then frigid zone. The area lying between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the northern hemisphere and between the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole in a southern hemisphere is called as a frigid zone. This area remains very cold throughout the year in the northern hemisphere and it is called as a north frigid zone. In the southern hemisphere it is called as a south frigid zone. So, next the third one is frigid zone. Okay. Third one is this is the earth and this is the equator, this is North Pole and this is South Pole. This is Tropic of Cancer, this is Tropic of Capricorn. Here there comes a what circle? Here there comes a Antarctic Circle and the Arctic circles. This is the Arctic and this is the Antarctic. This is 0 degree, that is equator, sorry. This is Antarctic circle and this is the Arctic circle. This is the Tropic of Cancer and this is the Tropic of Capricorn. This is equator. Understood? Now, this zone between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, including the equator, this zone is a torrid zone, and this zone which lies between the torrid zone and the frigid zone is known as a temperate zone. So, this is the temperate Zone. And the region which is this region, which is nearer to a pole and which from Arctic Circle to a pole in the northern hemisphere and from Antarctic Circle to a pole in the southern hemisphere, this region is known as the Frigid Zone. So, here all the three zones are there. So, the whole earth is divided into three zones. They are of Torrid Zone, which is between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, and the Frigid Zone, that is between the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole in the southern hemisphere, and Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the northern hemisphere. And between this Torrid Zone and this Frigid Zone, there lies a Temperate Zone in both the hemisphere. Between the Torrid Zone and the Frigid Zone, there lies a Temperate Zone. So, these are the three main zones of Earth. So, our Earth is divided into these three zones. And this Frigid Zone, it will be very cold throughout the year. Sometimes there may be a snow also. Okay. And here in the northern hemisphere, it is called as a North Frigid Zone. This is called as a North Frigid Zone. In the southern hemisphere, this is called as a South Frigid Zone. So, this is about the different zones. Here this Torrid Zone, it will be very hot and humid throughout the year. This temperate will be not very hot, not very cold. I mean, that is in a moderate climate, and this will be that is Frigid Zone, they will be very cold. Okay. So, this is about the different zones of Earth. Now, it is now clear that as we move from the equator towards the pole, the temperature decreases. To understand the influence of a climate on the lifestyle of a people, we will study one region in each climatic division in the following chapters. So, now we have known that starting from equator to a pole, if we travel from equator to the pole like this or equator to the pole like this, temperature decreases. See here, near the equator temperature will be very more, and coming to a poles temperature will be very less. So, the temperature decreases from the equator to a poles. And in the further coming chapters, we will study about each zone in detail. Okay. Now, what will happen? Here, they have given recap. We will recap what we have studied in all the classes about this weather and the climate. Okay. Weather is the condition of air temperature, air pressure, wind, humidity and the rainfall at a given time and a place. So, weather is what? Weather is a condition of air pressure, air temperature, wind, humidity, rainfall at one time, at one place. The weather condition prevails over a larger area and for a longer period is called as a climate. Those weather conditions which prevails over a longer area over a larger area and for a longer period of time, they are called as a climatic conditions of that area. Temperature varies in different part of a world. Temperature is an important factor of climate. So, that this temperature varies on the different part of a world or a earth, and this temperature, it is a measure of a climate. Okay. The distance of a place from equator decides the climate of a place. So, we know the reasons why the climate changes. So, climate depend upon the distance of a place from a equator. At higher altitudes, temperature are low and they begin to increase with fall in the height. So, at the higher altitude, temperature will be low and at the lower altitude, temperature will be high. The climate of the places in a coastal region is moderate. So, sea will influence the climate. Sea will convert any kind of climate into a moderate climate. So, the places which are nearer to a coast, they will experience a moderate climate. The direction of a wind also affects the temperature of a place. So, we have known the direction of a wind is also influence the temperature of a or a climate of a place. Earth is divided into three climatic or a heat zones: the torrid zone, hot and the humid climate; the temperate zone, moderate climate; and the frigid zone, very cold climate. So, we have seen that our earth is divided into three main important zones: the torrid zone, which is very hot and the humid; the frigid zone, which is very cold; and the temperate zone, which is moderate in climate. So, this was about the weather and the climate. So, I think so you guys have understood what I have said till now. With this, we are going to conclude the today's class and will next meet up with a different topic. Till then, you should read this. Thank you.